laughing. So I guess I'm just in the storytelling mood today, and I've been putting this one off long enough. And I just finished the other story about my hernia surgery and everything. And so I've kind of like chronologically in a little bit of a way explain how I got to where I am as a person. And so the last one that I kind of told was we moved from Illinois to Arkansas, and we moved to Newport, and I talked about the donut school, and then we moved to Truman. And I think that's kind of where I left it off. And I didn't know how much I wanted to get into all this, and so mostly because I don't want to make anybody mad. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. One of the other stories I told, I'll just go ahead and say it. My mom got upset about it and was talking about having a safe house, and she misunderstood what I was talking about, and it was never that I felt that my house was unsafe. And I'll get into this later. It was what happened after, well, I'll just kind of what happened after my mom and dad got a divorce and everything like that. And so, Mom, if you're watching this, don't take this video anyway. I have no bad feelings about anything that happened. I'm not trying to put you in a bad light. This is just kind of the way I saw that events happened. And it's almost surprising that something that you and Dad were together as long as you were in a way. And like, I kind of understand how everything ended up happening the way that it did. So with that, here we go. So like I said, we moved down to Truman, and I can't remember the name of the street, but we moved into this house, and we were there for a little bit. I can't remember, it was maybe about a year or so. And so during this time, my dad was driving for, I want to say, H&V trucking out of Newport. And so this is back when people had checks. And so Mom would go every week and go pick up Dad's check and come home. And something happened one time, and Dad brought back like a whole big pallet of cereal. I want to say it was from like the Batman movie or something. And said something about it got messed up and they were just going to throw it away, so they let him keep it or something like that. And he also said around that time he was down somewhere and he got to see just a little bit of them filming one of the RoboCop movies. How much of that's true, I don't know. Some of the stuff that my dad has told hasn't turned out to be factual, so it's kind of hard to believe what he says sometimes. Anyway, so we were on, this Parkview might have been the name of the street. I'll pull it up on Google Maps and put a picture here. But we moved in and there was a tree right there by the driveway, and me and my brother, we had dug a whole little thing there for our G.I. Joes, and it was their command center and all that fun stuff. And Aunt Leslie was living with us, and her husband Elsie was living with us for a little bit. And this is the whole point where I think I talked about my sister and her having her birthday with the the New Kids on the Block and all that fun stuff. And so everything seemed fine. Dad was driving the trucks. You know, he would come home every once in a while. Like I said, I don't ever remember him being too chatty or spending a lot of time with us. It was almost like when Dad's home, he needs to relax, just kind of leave him alone. That's kind of the way I always saw it. And so, what was it, about a year or two this went on? And I had to be about second grade then. I met my friend Patrick, and he lived down the street, so he was always coming over. And then there was another boy that was friends with my brother that lived behind us. They were always coming over, so we always had like other kids and other people coming in and out of the house and stuff. And one of my mom's stepsisters lived like right across the street. And so that's just kind of the way it was. You know, we'd come play in the dirt at the house, and we'd run around up and down the road on our bikes, and, you know, just being kids. And just remembering this. So one year Halloween came around, and I don't remember what it was, but we got a hold of some some glow-in-the-dark face paint. So we put it on our face to kind of look like Dracula and all that stuff. And it was like, at the end of the road, there was like a little mailbox, and we were hiding behind it. And somebody came by in a car, and we jumped out and scared them. And yeah, the dumb things you do as a kid. And so, I'm trying to remember, this is probably all in about a year or two time frame. And the crazy thing about it is when you're a kid, time seems to drag on forever, and then as you start getting older, sometimes, you know, time just seems to go by so fast. Like not long ago for Veterans Day, I was talking about, man, I was in Iraq 20 years ago. That's kind of crazy to think about. 20 years ago today, if you're looking at today is December 19th, 2024. So, December 19th of 2004, I was in Iraq. And I still had about 2 months to go. 3 months, something like that. Which that's a little bit different. But, let's get back on topic. So, you know, we'd walk to school, we'd come home, we'd have dinner, we'd play. Dad would come home every once in a while. That's just the way life was at the time. And you don't kind of see what's going on with your parents sometimes, but then we moved from that house to another house, and I don't remember the name of the street of that house, but it was like really close to the high school. And so when we moved there, like my Uncle Greg had gotten married, and him and his wife were living there, and they moved from Illinois, from Mount Vernon down to Truman, and they were needing a place to stay, so they were staying with us. And so we had, you know, my mom and dad whenever he was around, my brother Jeff, my sister Amanda, me, then you have my uncle, his wife, her daughter, her friend, and then her two sons. So there's like, what, 11, 12 people staying in that house. And so with that, it was just kind of crazy with everything that was going on. And then Mom got a job working at the Exxon gas station, which, that was cool. We were old enough, she could go get a job and everything. We didn't really think that much of it. I had to be about 9, 10, 11, something like that. I'm horrible with knowing years for some stuff. But, so, while she was working there, she met my stepdad, Lloyd. And this is where I don't want anything to be taken any which way. Because I know my dad wasn't no angel. And I know it had to be hard living with him because he never talked and things like that. He was always gone. And he's just kind of a cold person. And he holds a grudge about everything. And so, like I said, she worked at the gas station. And at the time, Lloyd would get off of work and he would go and he drank beer at the time. So he would go there, he'd get his beer, he'd fill up his cooler and everything like that. And that's kind of how they met. Not intending for anything to happen. And then, you know, they started going out and stuff like that. Oh, like one of the crazy things are something that happened before all this. I talked about the Aspen a long time ago. And so growing up, I always wanted that car. It was one of those things that I hoped was going to be like passed down to me. I know it's probably like stupid to think that way. But like, I was always wanting something for me and my dad to have together, and we never did. But I was hoping that when I came time to be able to drive, I was hoping that we'd still have the Aspen RT, and I would get the Aspen RT, and I'll put a picture of one of them, or what it kind of looked like of. Well, in between the trips, in between Newport and Truman, some lady pulled out and Mom got in a wreck and messed up the front end of it, and they were able to fix it, but it never got repainted or anything like that. I don't think it was ever quite the same after the wreck. Oh my God, looked like the whole axle came out from that truck. So like I said, we're at this different house. There's all these people coming and going. Mom met Lloyd, and so they kind of started, you know, going and hanging out and stuff, and I guess you'd call it kind of dating. And we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't pay that much attention. You know, we were just playing like Nintendo and stuff like that, and like people are coming in and out of the house, so it's like nothing quite new. And it's not like Lloyd was ever introduced to us at that time or anything like that. He would come and Mom would go out and get in the truck and they would leave. Well, Dad came home one time and asked, and I don't remember who it was. Someone said something about, you know, Mom going out with Lloyd. And we're sitting there and Dad's like, hey, pack some stuff. Let's go to Illinois. And we're like, okay, well, you know, we don't really know what's going on at this particular time. And so, in our minds, we're just going on a trip to go up to Illinois to visit for a little bit. And so we pack up some of our stuff. And what did he have? He had this gold car, a Pontiac, or no, it's a Plymouth. I can't remember, but I remember it was gold. And I remember that the speedometer didn't work. And so he's like, yeah, just pack up some clothes. We're going to go up to Illinois. Like, okay. So we kids pack up a few things and throw them in the car, and we just leave. I'm not sure if he left a note or anything like that. And I know that had to be scary, coming home and just everybody's gone. And, you know, this is way before cell phones. And so, like I said, we piled in the car, and the reason I remember that the speedometer didn't work is because Dad was like, yeah, the speedometer's not working. I need to see how fast I'm going. And so he was like, you know, let's time it from the mile marker here to the next mile marker, and we can kind of calculate how fast that we're going. And so I think we were going right at about 60 miles an hour because it took like a minute to get from 1 mile marker to the next on the road that we were on. And we're like, cool. And somewhere in between, we stopped to get gas or something like that. And I remember, the only reason I remember this is because what happened shortly after that. You know, it seemed like a fun little trip. We stopped at this gas station, and they had just brought out the Snickers ice cream bars. And I was like, oh, and so we got like that and a soda and stuff like that, and we get back in the car. And shortly after that, my dad looks over at my brother, and he goes, I don't even know why I bought you. You're not my son. I'm like, what? So up to that point, I did not know that my brother was really my half-brother, that I did not know that me and him had a different dad. And the way I found out about it is when my dad decided to take us to Arkansas, or from Arkansas to Illinois. When he decided that him and my mom were splitting up. Now, like I said, I know my dad wasn't an angel, and I'm sure that he had some other stuff going on, because depending on the sources that you listen to, and I haven't seen any so far, but who knows. I could have, I've been told, up to 8 or 9 half brothers and sisters somewhere in the country. So, like I said, I know for a fact my dad wasn't an angel, and I'll tell a story about that another time. And so, yeah, we just got in a car and went to Illinois. And my back's hurting a little bit. That's why I'm acting a little funky. So, yeah, it's a big bombshell. Just be sitting there and thinking, oh, we're going to go see, Nanny and Grandpa and everybody. And, to find out that your brother's your real half-brother, and that, my dad's not his dad. And you could tell that's affected my brother ever since he's found that out. But, yeah, we went to Illinois. And we got there, and Dad took us clothes shopping. And I don't know if I could find a picture of this, but I got some shoes, and I think we went to Kmart, and to us it was just cool. We got some new clothes, and I got a glow-in-the-dark Uncle Fester shirt because one of the Addams Family movies was coming out. I remember that. And that would probably be a good spot to leave this because I'm just about home. Oh! I forgot to stop by. I was supposed to stop by and get Chester some medicine. I'll just have to go home. I got busy wrapped up in this. But, yeah, we got up to Illinois and we were living in my grandparents' house. And, I guess that's a good spot to leave this story. And like I said, telling the story, I'm not putting blame on anybody. I don't want anybody to feel bad. Things happen. People are unhappy. I understand all of that. And this is just my perspective. And if anybody ever watches this and thinks anything about it, don't think anything about it. Don't try to judge anybody. Because life happens and stuff happens. And people aren't always happy together. And that's perfectly fine. And so, yeah, Mom was still married to Dad when she met Lloyd, but they've been together, God, what, 30-some years now? Something like that. I can't remember. But I've been dreading telling this one because I've been wanting to tell it for a while, but I've been thinking about it. Like I said, the biggest thing is I don't want anybody taking a weird takeaway from this and getting upset and feeling any particular way about it. It's just, it's what happened. It's life. Life's ugly. Would I be the same person if all this didn't happen and what happened after didn't happen? I don't know. So, excuse me, this is just one of the things that in the walk of life that shaped me into the person that I am today. And so I don't think that there's anything else that I can say. But Mom, if you watch this, I love you, and I don't feel mad about anything that happened. I don't want you to feel bad about anything that happened. Even if you would have never met Lloyd, it probably would have happened anyway. And like I said, I know Dad wasn't an angel, and I'll tell a story about what happened that I know happened. And I'm sure that wasn't the first time that he did something like this. But that's a story for another time. And so, yeah. And this one's coming out near Christmas. Yeah. Fun. But yeah, so just think about it this way. If none of this stuff happened, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. And for as messed up as everything that did happen, I turned out pretty alright, I guess. I got my problems, but I could have been a lot worse with everything that happened. I probably could have did a little bit better. But statistically, I probably should have been a lot worse. So, just want to say, love you, Finn. I love you, Mom. And Merry Christmas coming up. Bye.